Hey, my name is Brent here and Cloudy at the Chance of Meeples. Today, it's all about negotiating. How well do you know your friends? And how well do you know if they are going to backstab you and steal all your loot? Well, today we're going to find out. We're taking a look at Goodcritters. It's fun. Spoiler alert. Cue the thunder. So the radar overview for Goodcritters, a game all about negotiating for 4 to 8 players. Here I have it set up for 5 players. You got Tooth, you got Anna, you got Tommy, you got Roxy, and you got Knuckles. Each of these characters come with a deck of their own cards. You have 5 different action cards, and I'll explain what those do a little bit later. You also have Slim Jim, as well as Lima, and you have Bruno. I'll say this, the game doesn't come with these little bags, but each of them comes with a few items, and then I just put them in little bags, and then it makes setup and tear down that much quicker, and then you get to the fun that much faster. So this game is played over multiple rounds. Depending on how many players are involved, you will take this big deck of 140 loot cards, and you will put this card, the Fuzz, somewhere in, depending on how deep, depending on how many players, that's how deep into that deck you will go. So that is kind of the timer for the game. Each of the characters, like I said, will get their hand of 5 cards, and then you are about to go. There are 4 parts to each round. The first one will be distributing, or would be showing off the loot. So at the start of every round, you take as many loot cards as there are people plus 2. So in this 5-player game, you would have 7 cards. As you can see, I can count very well. So there are, in fact, 7 cards in front of me. Someone would always be the boss, and they would have this little boss token. Then it would be up to the boss to distribute these loot cards as they see fit. So you know what? Maybe they can do it however they want. They could give them all to themselves if they really wanted, but you're always going to want to try to, appease everybody, make everybody happy, but just take a little bit extra for yourself. So let's just say, here we go. You got Knuckles. He's going to take 6,000. He's going to give Roxy 5, Tommy 5. You know what else he's going to give? He's going to give, there we go. He's going to give Anna 5, and he doesn't like what Tooth did to him the last game, so he's going to give $2,000 to Tooth. At that point, it is straight negotiation. This would be the negotiation phase, or the choose the action phase. At that point, that's when these 5 cards come into play. I sleeve my cards, if you've watched my channel, because for games where you have like hidden information, I think it's imperative that you sleeve cards. So I'll show you what the 5 actions are. You could do skim. Okay, so whoever would play the skim card, if you're the first player to reveal this card, you just get to take one of these off the top and just get a little extra. You could play that. You could also vote yes. If you think everything's fair, you like the distribution amounts and all that, you vote yes, or you vote no. The other thing you could do is you could rob someone. If you're robbing someone, you would take your token and you would put it onto someone or in front of them. In this case, I'm just putting it beside that other person, showing that Anna is now threatening to rob Roxy. So at that point, Roxy has to think, is Anna actually going to rob me? And will she in fact play her card that does in fact rob someone? Or is she bluffing? And you know what? Tommy could also do that. And then Roxy's got to decide, are both these people bluffing? Or are they in fact going to rob me? So you know what? I'll put this back there and there. I'll show you. That's the rob card. And then of course, if someone's threatening to rob you, you could play the guard card. And if you play a guard card and someone actually does in fact play a rob card against you, you can rob them instead of them robbing you. That makes sense. You'll be playing one of these cards. That's it. So everybody will pick a card. Let's just say, Tommy's going to put that here and threaten to rob the boss. And I'm playing as the boss. I'm playing as Knuckles. So I don't think Tommy's serious. So I'm going to play my card, and then everybody has straight negotiation. Okay, I'll just put these cards out. Let's say these are the cards that they played, and at this point it's straight negotiation. You have 2 of these tokens. If you're playing the optional rules, they say yes and no on it. You also have these $1 little $1 bills. Every player starts with a number of those, and during this choose action phase, you can say to anybody, if you have, a couple of these thousand, you could say, hey, you know what, Tommy, I'll give you $3,000 if you for sure rob Knuckles. Say that was Tooth, because Tooth, he doesn't like what Knuckles is doing to him, so he's paying Tommy off to rob him so that he can maybe use the skim card, because if Tooth is going second and Knuckles doesn't want to be robbed, then maybe he could bribe Tommy to rob Knuckles, and then Tooth could play the skim card. So you have a lot of open negotiation during this phase. So let's just say he in fact did that, and then this is how it happened. So Knuckles, he's first on top. He says absolutely. He's taking his loot. Look at that. He got $5,000. He put that in front of him. And then you go around. Two's turn to flip his card. He's voting a no. He doesn't want anything to do with this distribution of funds. Anna, she's voting yes. She's got $5,000. She's okay with that. Tommy, Rob, look at that. At that point, he in fact did play a Rob card. This would be the only time you would play your card out of turn. If in fact Knuckles had played the guard card, then Knuckles would steal from Tommy, but in this case, Tommy stole from Knuckles, and then it would be up to Anna. She voted yes. So you have 2 yes and 1 no. At that point, as soon as you have a definitive yes beating no vote, all the loot would go to those specific players, whatever was given them in front of them, and then you would start another round. If ever it's voted no, at that point, then all those loot cards go back into the middle, and then you add another 2 cards. The boss then goes to the person first who played no card to the left of the boss. They become the new boss, and if it's a tie, everybody gets what they want, but the distribution of the loot, but they lose the faith in the boss, and it's time to decide who else is in charge. Everyone takes their loot, and the player to the left, clockwise from the previous boss. So if it's a no vote, the first person who voted a no becomes the new boss, and if it's a yes vote, but a tied yes vote, the person to the left, straight to the left of the boss plays or is the next boss. So that is how you play. You just continue going around again until the fuzz card comes up, and then everybody adds up all of their loot cards, any of these bribe cards, or these $1,000 cards if they're still left in the game, and whoever has the most would be the winner. On to the final forecast. So the final forecast for Goodcritters, a game all about negotiating and potentially stabbing your friends in the back. That's pretty much what sums up Goodcritters. I love this game. Just straight out, before I get into anything else, I love this game. Sadly, in the way that the world has turn of events and all this stuff, I haven't played it in a while. It plays 4 to 8 players, and I will say it plays 5 to 8 players. I've played this multiple times at the 4-player count, and to me it doesn't work that well, because I feel you could have someone being the boss and split all the loot between themselves and one other person. And yeah, maybe they'll give themselves, like $1,000 more each time. But you're going to have the 2 people voting yes every time and the other 2 people voting no every time. And, yeah, you can rob them, but really, if you're robbing them and they're still voting yes, you're stealing, a random card from them every time, whereas they're getting a whole bunch of cards and considerably more than what you're able to steal. So, like I said, 4-player, I don't enjoy it as much. It plays at 4, but I think this game truly shines at 5 to 8 players. And the more players involved, it's just chaotic. And it's just so good. I think the theme is pretty cool. Good Critters, kind of like Goodfellas, and just the whole negotiating. Like everything's on the table when you're doing the negotiating phase or choosing your action card phase. Just craziness happens because you have, someone's putting their standee in front of that person, and then they're playing a card, or they're putting a card on the table, and then someone else puts their standee in front of them, and then they got to pull that back and decide, are they actually going to, rob me? Are they both double bluffing? And then you can just have those yes and no tokens to, bribe the payoffs and the bribes to say, if you vote yes, you can have this card. It's a loot card, and trust me, it's a really good one. And you could just lie to your friends straight out, and it could be $2,000. Whereas, you sold it to them as maybe being a $4,000 or $5,000 card. Just the negotiating factor is just fantastic. Of course, when you are the boss, you want to make it as fair as possible so that you can play that skim card. And then hopefully the vote will pass. You'll get the extra card, and you just keep doing that, making bank. But then you just gotta watch how all these loot cards come out. But there's no $1,000 loot cards. They're all 2 to 5. So more often than not, you're not going to be able to split everything evenly, like you saw in the radar overview. You can't split everything evenly, so you're always going to have that one person. And so it's just that balancing act of you want to be the boss so that you can do the distribution and maybe skim. But I don't know, it's just great. Good Critters. I highly recommend this. If you are part of a game group and you just love the negotiating, it's kind of a party game, but it's kind of a in-your-face party game. Maybe not a party game. I'm saying a party game because it can play up to 8 players. But this game may or may not cause some friction between you and your game group, or you and your family, or you and your friends, depending on how invested one might get in this game. It can be very cutthroat. I've played it many times where I've seen people just get robbed again and again and again. And depending on your group and how you guys interact will really reflect on how well this game will go over in your group. Because you can bluff someone, you can like straight up lie to them, be like, yeah, I'm gonna vote yes, absolutely, I'm gonna vote yes, I will vote yes, and then you vote no, or you rob that person, or well, at that point they would know because your standee would be in front of them. But you could vote no, or you could do skim, hoping that the person, the people in front of them haven't played that. So just anything goes in negotiation. Open negotiation. This game is absolutely fantastic. So check out Good Critters. I'm getting an 8.5. I think it's really that good of a game with that 4-player count. It's not that good. So yeah, 8.5, 85% chance of meeples. There you go. 85% chance of meeples for Good Critters. Check it out. My name is Brent. Check us out on Facebook. Cloudy with the chance of meeples. Remember, grab your umbrella. The forecast is cloudy with a chance of meeples.